your dreams.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another Snowbreak Containment Zone video, and today I'm just going to be doing a quick Ethereal Qinsing guide. If you happen to like the content, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. So Qinsing's main role is going to be like an AoE mob clearer. She is probably one of the best AoE clearers in the game. Another good one is Akasia Kaguya. However, her standard skill does take a lot of energy, so you're not going to be using her standard skill that often to its fullest to clear out mobs. While Ethereal Cloud's standard skill, doesn't really take as much energy and the cooldown is a lot more shorter. What makes Ethereal Cloud a very good mob clearer is her standard skill basically marks up to 5 enemies, and whenever you shoot at those enemies, all of them take electrical damage, regardless of who you shoot. This is pretty good in dealing with enemies that move around a lot or enemies that are in the air. So if you are looking for another AoE character for your team, I do think Ethereal Cloud is a pretty good choice. However, the downside for Ethereal Cloud is really that she does need her 5-star weapon in order for her to deal pretty good damage. Without it, she's not going to be clearing as mobs as faster as you would have liked. Basically, what her weapon does, the anti-evil ward, it increases electrical damage by 18%, which is great since Ethereal Cloud deals electrical damage, and the crit damage multiplier is increased by 12%. And whenever she deals electrical damage, she'll get a stack of the Crimson Cloud with a max of 50 stacks. And once Ethereal Cloud gets all of the stacks, she basically gets this thing called the Crimson Sky Shield, which will be activated for 5 seconds. And while in this state, attack is increased by 21%. So why she deals so much damage with this weapon is basically because she gets electrical damage boost and an attack boost. No other weapon in the game does this, so she definitely needs this weapon to deal big dick damage. Other weapon options you can use is the 4-star, the Indicator. Upon entry, it basically increases your ballistic damage by 5% with a max of 6 stacks, so that's 30% max. If you don't know what ballistic damage is at this point, it's basically your normal shots. Whenever you shoot with the character, that is ballistic damage. And since Ethereal Cloud is basically going to be shooting up enemies, this weapon is pretty good for her. Other weapon options can be like any other electrical weapon, since she has a Deimos alignment that increases her chance for her weapon to deal more damage by 50% if she has an electrical weapon. So any electrical weapon will most likely work just fine. Let's talk about Ethereal Cloud's skills. Now, I already talked about the standard skill. The neural skills of Ethereal Cloud are pretty good. One of them is when spiritual slips disappear, a blast is triggered, dealing 70% of Qinsing's attack as electrical damage to the attached targets. So whenever the slips disappear, she'll deal more damage to the enemies. And another one you can unlock is spiritual slips can mark up to 8 targets at once instead of the traditional 5. Ethereal Cloud support skill is pretty similar to the standard skill, but it's more supportive. Still marks up to 5 enemies and 5 enemies only, and when your operative shoots them, it'll deal electrical damage to all of them. With the neural skills, when triggering the Scarlet Thunder weak spot effect, recovers 1 ultimate energy. So it's another way to build up ultimate energy a little bit more quickly. And when the support skill hits a target, it'll inflict the target with the paralyze effect for 2 seconds. So we have another way to crowd control enemies by paralyzing them with Ethereal Cloud. Ethereal Cloud's ultimate is also really good at AoE and clearing out mobs of enemies. It basically bombards enemies that are marked either through the standard or support skill with damage, and it knocks them up in the air. When this ultimate is used, it will create a field that deals electrical damage to the enemies. And with the neural skills unlocked, when this ultimate hits enemies, it will reset the attached duration of all of the spiritual slips in the area. So with this ultimate, you won't have to worry about reapplying the slips with the standard skill to enemies. And when the ultimate sets up, the field increases ballistic damage taken by enemies by 20%. So it's another damage boost to Ethereal Cloud, and it can also be a damage boost to your other supportive operatives. For logistics for Ethereal Cloud, I think the obvious choice is the new Mingi squad. You can currently farm this in the new event, and hopefully it will be moved to the logistics dungeon so players can farm them. With 2 officers, it'll increase ballistic damage by 24%, and ballistic damage is going to be pretty important for Ethereal Cloud since she's going to be doing that most of the time. And with 3 officers, when dealing electrical damage, increases attack of the equipping operative by 1% for 3 seconds, max of 45 stacks. Repeated triggers will reset the duration. I don't think there's any other logistics that deal with electrical damage, so I do think this is going to be Ethereal Cloud's best logistics set. The best stats that you're probably going to be looking for is the electrical damage stat. Hopefully you can get lucky with that. Now, as for Ethereal Cloud's best team members, keep in mind it's going to be depending on, what content you're doing. If you're doing main story content, I don't really think it's going to be that worth worrying about the team members. But for the harder content in the game, like the Underground Purge and the Neural Links, team composition is going to be pretty important. Remember that Ethereal Cloud is an assault rifle character, so she is going to need team members that either wield a sniper rifle or a shotgun to deal with the pesky enemies that are going to ricochet Ethereal Cloud's shots. Fenny Coronet is a pretty good team member since she is a shotgun character and her support skill can increase the speed of Ethereal Cloud's shots. The free Fenny is also pretty good since she's also another shotgun character and her support skill is pretty good at knocking back enemies for crowd control. Winter Solstice Yao is also another good team member to use since she is a sniper character to deal with the high armored enemies, and her support skill will deal thermal damage and will knock enemies up in the air, so another crowd controlling support skill. Quiet Critter Yao is also another good option since she's a sniper and she can also heal. New 4-star character series is also another good option since she's also a shotgun character and she can shield her allies. Other non-sniper and shotgun characters that could be good teammates for her is we got the Observer Chinsing, which is the 4-star one. She is a healer, however you do have to keep in mind that the 3rd slot should be either a shotgun or a sniper character to deal with the enemies that will ricochet to both of the Chinchings. Wildlife Hunt is also a pretty good team member since her standard skill is pretty spammable and her freezing support skill is pretty handy as well. Acacia Kaguya is also a pretty good team member since her support skill can decrease the enemy's electrical resistance, so her support skill is pretty universal overall, and Kaguya can crowd control enemies. So that's basically all of the best team members I can think of for Ethereal Cloud. Overall, Ethereal Cloud is a pretty good AoE mob clearer. I would only recommend pulling for her if you can pull for her weapon. But her support skill, being able to paralyze enemies, isn't really bad either. It's a pretty good support skill. It can paralyze some bosses, not all of them, but it is pretty good with, mob characters. But yeah, that's all I have to say about Ethereal Cloud. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys later.
Bye now. Come again soon.